Hello world, welcome back to Cultural Colloquy. I'm James Morgan for those who are new here. If you're returning, I'm truly grateful. On today's episode, I have the privilege to sit down with, two women doing something that I have been wanting to do for a very long time, and it's just really focusing on community and specifically the art community in Los Angeles. And I believe that what they are doing, what they created is just inspiring, like, for lack of a better word. It's just inspired me to take what I do more serious and take community more serious. So if you guys can start just by introducing your name, and what would you say got you to where you are today?
You go first.
So my name is Perris, Mykel. What got me here today?
What would you say got you to where you are today?
A lot of patience and grace with myself, just because I feel like when you're young, you definitely try to rush to basically this point of my life, or like your 20s, and you really have to enjoy the journey. So a lot of patience.
I'm Tiffany Brown. Did you say your name?
I said Mykel.
Okay. I'm Tiffany Brown. What got me here today, I guess just specifically talking about the creative realm, would be being inspired by people, my circle, and people around me. God first and foremost. But yeah, I think grace is a great one, because having grace with oneself, especially when as a creative you're trying to do so much and you're the hardest on yourself. It's just being kind to yourself and then being inspired by those around you is what's got me here today.
So all these questions are for both you guys. What does culture look like to you?
Ooh, I'm gonna love all these questions.
Do you want to start?
No, how about you with me every time?
I need a little second to think.
Oh, okay. I can start.
Okay.
Culture can literally be represented in so much. I feel like, being a Black woman, I see Black culture in a lot of things, but if we're just talking about culture in itself, it's from, how we interact, to how we express our creativity, all of that can be culture. So I guess specific forms of it is outlets, everything that we're putting on for people, if it's, I'm a musician, I'm a comic, I'm a comedian, or a poet, or a photographer, or a model, it's all these different ways to represent that.
I don't have nothing to add. That was pretty much perfect. I'm not gonna lie.
You don't think that you have your own individual perspective?
On the culture?
Or what you feel like it is, or what it looks like to you?
She put it in the words. It's very difficult to follow
We
that.
agree.
Yeah.
It's the same.
It's pretty much the same. We can,
What do you feel like your place in culture is?
Ooh, you can go for it.
Definitely emphasis on the creative and a multifaceted creative, because it's really easy to fall into a niche or something that you're just super, super good at doing. But it's also really fun to discover something that you didn't know you would be good at, or didn't know that you would love to do, even if you're not the best at it. So genuinely just being a creative, and being able to exercise any skill set that I really want to.
Did you?
Oh yeah, what do you feel like your place in culture is?
Oh, I think we need to just answer one. I think that it'd be dope, because we're low-key you can treat us like one.
So
we got a
pretty much the
share.
same
It's
thing.
perfect, yeah. So we could, whatever, if you feel oh, I'm gonna answer that when I gotta answer for it, then go for it.
Right.
If it's both of us, we'll let you know.
Okay.
If you want to extend, yeah. Well.
For sure. Well, what are you working on?
Ooh. That can be individual. Okay, because we have our own. Yeah,
You can go first though.
Okay. So I guess to introduce first what Creators Campus is for both of us, I can speak on that. But we're each working to create our sort of, I don't even know what to call it, this launch of of supporting creatives and having monthly events. We're working to create our actual Creators Campus into a nonprofit, but basically each month we're throwing something for, you know, the multifacetedness of all, I don't even know if that's a word, of all creatives.
It is.
Okay. So, like I said, one night, 1 month it was open mic showcase, so all of the voices in art. Other month it was media and models, so like photographers and videographers and models. So Creators Campus in general, just working to cultivate this community where we can have people we know that we can consistently see, and it's like, hey, there's James, like, here he is again another month, and then like we have new people that we are complete strangers to, but like they're supporting the vision and everything too. So there's that, but then as individuals, we also have our own thing going on. So for me, well, we're both in school, so that's a whole thing. But outside of school, I had a film production background, so I'm still consistently working on like small short films and writing, and I've been tapping a lot more into photography. So either doing street photography where it's kind of just impromptu and just beautiful things I see while I'm out, and trying to just keep my camera on me a lot more lately. Other than that, actual like planned shoots with up and coming models, and like my best friend's brother is like a up and coming model. Yeah, just things like trying to fuel creativity and keep it fired up, because it's like easy to get discouraged, but to stay having fun in all of it.
That's important.
Currently, besides Creators Campus, I'm working on upping my podcast. So I have a podcast with my sister where we talk about literally everything that has to do with the culture, but she's 11 years apart from me. So it's like a big difference in our age gap, and we kind of compare all the time. But we haven't been able to film recently just because life has been lifing. And I've been trying to figure out like how we can grow, but like also keep connecting and not make it such a job. And then besides like just exercising my voice and like talking to my sister and all those things, I too have been working on like short films or whatever, but I haven't officially made one short film, but I worked on this short film. This short film that I'm working on is called Ugly, and I have like one act left to like draw out, but like the idea and stuff is there, and I just want to actually execute it and see it come to life on screen. So
You can't forget about.
oh, I mean, nightmare. Okay.
What?
Girl, I can talk for an hour about all my business.
She really can.
Well,
She
yeah,
really can.
we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
I also did watch the podcast. Like, you guys are so funny.
Oh my god. They're everything. Wait, I know that he's supporting. He genuinely knows everything we're doing. Yeah, I did research. No, talk about Jam here.
He'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll bring it up.
What would you say your biggest success has been this month?
This month? A reflection on the past month.
Reflection.
Dang. Because I'm like...
Definitely, I just want to say for both of us, I know it's Creators Campus and that we're still going on our monthly idea. We haven't skipped a month since we started, and I just think it's really a blessing that like we don't see ourselves stopping anytime soon. But like, what is the question so I can get back to it?
What would you say your biggest success is?
This month for me would be doing 2 pop-up shows, and like I had worked overnight to build this collection. Like I literally did not sleep to do the pop-up show, and I like designed it, I printed, I pressed it, all those things. And that was probably like my biggest accomplishment because I hadn't worked on my brand, The Nightmare Clothing, like previously in January and like early February, even December. I kind of fell off, but not that I wanted to. It was just like creativity can't be forced. So I don't try to force it with my brand. And I think that it was really beautiful that I could actually execute something again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I feel like for me, because there are so many things creatively that we've had success with, and like each one we always celebrate. We're always like, it's time to celebrate. So we like definitely celebrate our successes. But I think looking outside of that, it's been more on a personal note, like just how, I don't know, just my mindset lately, and just like being more positive and like working on mental health and spiritual health, because nothing else will function if that isn't right. So like this month, I've definitely been, that is my biggest success, or like that's the most thing I'm proud of, because like sometimes it's tough, like I said, to stay encouraged. So definitely that.
No, I love that. Yeah, I feel like with creative people, like it's easier to get into that headspace. I don't want to say easier, but we just doubt ourselves. I think you said it earlier, like we're harder on ourselves. Yeah. Well, speaking on that, what is your biggest obstacle and how do you get over it?
Because for me, it goes back to mental health. I'm not even kidding. This month, if we talk about this month was a little rough, but in a good way. Like it tested me in a lot of ways. Also, like I guess if we're just talking about life for real, but because I like just started consistently working out since kind of December, like the New Year resolution type thing, and just like not giving up, like staying consistent. So biggest obstacle has been like mentally becoming stronger, because when motivation, I've been saying this all month, when motivation dwindles, like all it is that's left is discipline, to just be like, okay, I'm getting up today, go again, you know, like, because motivation will literally dwindle. So
I need to write that down.
Literally, I think that's all I tell myself. I can't even, oh wait, let me give credit to my trainer, my homegirl, because it wasn't me. I was like, damn, my motivation is already gone. Yeah. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because it's like, okay, I'm going to start feeling good, looking good, and then it's like, okay, I don't want to go today. And it's like, no, get up.
Literally. The discipline.
It's the discipline.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest obstacle, is having that discipline.
My biggest obstacle would be balance. Still right now, I haven't gotten over it, because as I add more things to my schedule, like I mentally am like, I know I can do it because I've done it. Like not before necessarily, but I've pushed through everything before. I can always, you know, make it happen, but there's still a sense of like there's only 24 hours in the day, and I don't want all of it to necessarily go to other outlets. Like there should be some aspect, or there should be a big aspect of the mental health part of it that is just completely dedicated as if it was a job. So definitely working that mental health balance into my new schedule. Haven't gotten over it.
What would you say you want to accomplish by the end of the year?
Don't start because
I'm sorry, loudness. We literally, because starting, it's only, actually now it's March tomorrow, but like, I was just saying how 2 months have flown by and like we've stayed consistent and disciplined, but there is so much we want to achieve, and it's like, it can't even be, it's inexplicable, because it's beyond, for me, it's beyond measure of words. Like,
it's a vision.
It's we have this energy that's coming together right now, but literally it's not even like, oh, it's this many events, or it's this, like, because all that's going to come with it. But for me personally, I'll speak on me, like, the main goal is, like, I want to feel the change of, like, oh my gosh, how do I even say that? Words like escape through the conflict. I want to feel it. Like, it's not even about seeing it and how, okay, now we went from 10 people showing up to 50 or whatever, or even like, it's not even like what we'll visually see. Like, I just want to feel that we've made an impact.
It's a different vibe.
It's a different vibe, and like, there's an impact that has been made. We feel. I know we talked about this in the very beginning. We talked about, New Year's is the whole time, but we talked about so much, and like individually, like I want to feel confident in what I'm doing and how I feel and how I look, everything. But it's like, I know that after this year, like it feels life-changing already, but we're going to be on this path of just like this new decade, first of all, because we're 20 now, and then era of life, like, and just like a shift of mindset.
No,
that's good.
I love that. No, I love that.
Sorry, did you have it?
No, I'm like, repeat the question one more time.
What do you want to accomplish by the end of the year?
I think that she did articulate it really well again.
Well, there's also a follow-up question.
Okay.
What do you feel like you have to do to get there?
Definitely keep with the consistency. I think that our intentions need to stay clear every time, and like we're not just throwing it to throw it, or just doing this event because that's what they want. It's like still connected to us in our own way. It's still supposed to support somebody. Like there's still an outlet that should be there, but like how we get there, honestly, just keep being as serious as we were in the beginning about it, if not more serious. Yeah.
I love that too. This question is for both you guys. What are your passions and what do you love?
Love it.
My passions, I always bring it back to creativity because when I was younger, I just didn't realize how much of a creative I actually am. And I just kind of thought like what I was doing was so like natural for everybody, but it's not. And I feel like, I don't know, what do I love? I honestly love Kodak moments, and I love to see them put together. I love to capture a vibe. I love, like, whether that vibe is on photo and video or like at our events, like I genuinely just like to see people having a good time in their element, just in a safe space.
And may I add for her?
She wanted me to say something.
I need to hype her up because she's the one, top two, not two, with all things like our Instagram with Creators Campus, just like digital marketing and like the visual looks of everything, like coming back down to just straight creativity, but like just how things come together and look. Because we said this recently, but like it's funny, it's a funny balance because like I'm kind of not good with that stuff, but it'll be the in-person interactions where I'm like, I talked to this man for 3 hours and now he said he'll come to Creators Campus, and then I have this speaker, we talked about that, and then you're like completely, I'll be the one on the Instagram chat, but like does so well with like bringing people together, and then like I don't know, just the look of it, that I have to like shout you out for that because it's all her. It's definitely not me. Definitely not me. But what was it? Me forgetting mine. Oh, passion. Just oh yeah, so I feel like definitely more honing in photography lately. It's also just been community. Like even when I wasn't cultivating community yet, and I had, I never had a big circle of friends. It would always be 1 or 2 main people in my life. It was always like my family. How can I get like, did we talk about this? I don't know, but like I had literally gotten like all my first cousins, there's hella of us on my dad's side, and like got like 15 of us to have a cousins trip, and like I just always want like people together, or like just bringing people together, but also in a good spirit, like in a good intentioned way. So lately it's been that, and like just expressing myself and being vulnerable, and like that's been going into poetry, like trying to be more authentic and true to myself instead of overthinking like, oh, what will people think of me, or whatever. So definitely overall creativity, but in that is like small mini factors to it.
Yeah. Who are your role models, and in what ways have they inspired you?
You can take the lead on that.
Cliche, because my mommy all day long. But like, also, I mean, you can find aspects of something you aspire to be in everyone, I think.
And that's what I feel like is
you were going to say? Oh my gosh, because like, first and foremost, it's just like if I look into my household and how it's raised, it's like all I knew was my mommy and her kind spirit and her, and then my dad, and I look at my sister, like there's so many people, but it does bring you back to like seeing, I'm like, how deep do I want to go with this? Because like you can go to a spiritual level of like, we're all one, so I see myself and others, I see, people's pains, people's aspirations, but it's like, wow, we're all just getting through this junk in the best way we know how. And yeah, so I'd say my mommy, I guess. But everybody, mom, I'm sorry, you're not everybody, but no one like my mom said that straight.
She's like, just in case.
Just in case. Sorry.
No, you
okay, because literally not.
You don't have to worry about answering the question right now. Sorry, that's the drive.
It's okay. Mine makes the same noise. I definitely would be like, I find inspiration in everything. I have a little story to it because when I was younger, I like posted Ariana Grande and I said something like, oh, she's my role model or whatever. And my dad, he was actually like, why is she your role model? Like, you don't even know her. And like, ever since then, I like actively started thinking about like who I actually call my role model or who I take inspiration from. And I consistently say like I'm a mosaic of like my different experiences or my people. And I feel like right now, like I haven't been able to focus on anybody specifically just because I feel like we're doing so much. And like, there's no one to really look at for what we're doing. So I think that there's a level of looking back at myself and being like, oh, did I grow, or are we growing? And like one person though, I just feel like I feel like it's cliche to say myself, like, because
Period, say it.
I'm like, it's honestly myself, like just being able to because I do a lot of vision boards. I've been doing a lot of vision boards for the last like 3 years, and I show Tiffany all the time when stuff comes true, and I'm like, this stuff is crazy. So I would say me.
That's dope.
I love that. Is there an end goal for the art that you create?
What? Never.
It
just
never
keep
ends.
going. Just keep going.
I love these answers right now. I love these questions, by the way.
I do love these questions.
I love this.
Making me
Yeah,
think.
it's sparking my, like, I'm like, dang. And there's no ending to it, period.
There's not, because I don't know if I did say this to you. I was thinking about like my 5-year plan or whatever. Like I have a very light 5-year plan because I don't like to plan too hard in the future. But like my ultimate goal is to have like a office space or something just to be able to work out of my creativity. But I got to thinking, I would be like, what would I do after I hit that? And I'm like, I guess I'll just come to it when it comes, because it's probably not going to stop there.
Yeah.
Same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would a title to a film about your life be?
Ooh.
Because she was talking about this.
I mean,
What my junk would be.
okay, well, my short film is based off my life, so I'm just gonna use the term ugly just because when I was like younger, I felt ugly, but not. I didn't feel like, I felt undesired. That's the point of the short film, but it's called Ugly, and I don't know.
That's a great meaning.
It can sprout into other things, so I'm gonna go with that.
Because the meaning behind it is fire, but then people would be like, why would you name your life Ugly? But that's fire. I don't know. Why is that like such a simple question but loaded? Because it's like I have to say what defines my life, or like just name it, like just figuring this junk out or
It
something
doesn't have
like
to be one word either.
Yeah, figuring this shit out. Like I don't want to curse it, like maybe figuring this junk out, or
It's
like,
on YouTube, so.
Figuring this.
or like I don't know. I think figuring this junk out.
I like that.
That's
I would watch that.
I would watch that too. Immediately watch that.
What would yours be?
Yeah.
It's called In Passing.
We didn't interview
I
you.
thought about this for like a while.
That's
Okay.
fire.
So,
Explanation?
I know.
Oh,
I
it's
love
something about me.
No, we want to hear.
But we want to know.
Can we do that? I want to hear about your stuff too in it.
After, maybe.
Okay, he said that.
Sorry,
Sorry,
on a
you two.
schedule.
You'll get another episode.
Yeah, we're gonna come back and both interview you.
Yep.
Okay. What art form do you feel helps you make sense of your life and the world around you? And in what ways?
Art form.
For you, I feel like it's journaling.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I wouldn't have thought of that right now.
I feel like you wouldn't have, but it's that writing aspect. That
It's the writing. Oh my God,
You
man.
know, I've read some of your writing. So.
It's really so beautiful. She speaks
Make
so
sense
hard.
of the world. It does help me make sense of the world and just what I'm experiencing, what I see people experience. That's perfect. Thank you. That's my answer. That's my
But
answer.
for me, that's why I'm like, I came up with yours real quick.
Wait, what's your? Okay, how
Mine
about?
always goes back to the camera though.
It does, because I'm
Honestly.
like, what do you do? Like my journaling is like something that I do that I wasn't even sharing like before I started that page, Instagram page, and it's like it was just for me and my spirit. So like, what's something that you wouldn't even have to share with others and it would be needed in your life? You know?
Creatively is really hard. I'm like, I want to say that I love to paint, but it's like I don't go to paint when I'm like feeling a type of way. I like to listen to music. I feel like I have like played with like making music before, and I feel like that would be one. I do like to like write lyrics and stuff and just
It's
like
been so long
freestyle,
since
but
you-
it's been a long time.
Can we go into the stew story?
Right before COVID, literally, we were up in a music recording studio just cranking out songs, Body and J. Cole, like.
And that's when I realized, oh wait, this is so cute because I didn't even, that feels like a whole nother you and a whole different me.
That was so
We were like barely friends. This is a whole other
This is
story.
new.
But we've known each other since middle school or before?
Whoa.
Middle school.
Middle school for sure.
And we're in college together now. But like, we weren't ever, it was like, hey Pear, hey Tiff.
We just were like in mutual friends.
And that was it. And like, now that we just said this in the voice memos the other day, I would never imagine you'd be my business partner.
Literally.
And the way, why did I bring that up? Oh, in the studio, so it was like before COVID hit, we were literally we were babies, or was that junior year? Yeah, it was junior year.
Yeah.
And then we thought we were having so much fun, and that's when I realized, I was like, wow, like, we can express ourselves in any kind of way, because I would never be in no studio singing or rapping, like, and that bird never get out.
At
Yours
least
can get out.
mine is not drop. Like,
Yours
they
is
don't
good.
drop.
Mine
So
was
no one
terrible,
can
but it
hear
was,
Yeah. But it was fun. It was about
fun.
the energy.
And then it was about, like, how, I don't know, it was
also the production aspect of
we
it.
loved it all. But yeah, that was
I
great.
think that's good. Yeah. Like,
So yours,
making music for sure.
You haven't done that, so now I'm like,
That's like
what would
something
it
I
be
don't
like?
really share.
You should totally get back to that, bird.
You did mention being like a DJ in the last podcast.
Oh my god, you really did your
What?
research, because I totally.
I haven't even seen it.
That's part of
So
my
bad.
like year vision. Like I would like to
Become a
be
DJ?
a DJ at the
Friend,
end of the year.
That's fire.
Tell me about it.
Because I'm over here thinking we wouldn't have to pay a DJ, but
no, like that's kind of where it started from. It's like it shouldn't be that hard to mix some shiz together. But I'm like,
and she always appreciates music when we're out listening to someone. She's like, that transition was whack. Like, she'll be like, oh, they could have done better.
right?
But
Give me a new DJ.
wait, stop. That's fire. You're touching into
Yeah, so I think
making
that's crazy because the DJ definitely does connect with. Oh my god.
And you said music was your.
yeah.
What are we
it
talking
connects
about?
with the music, the lyrics, making music.
That's fire.
What art form? Her art form that
Her
helps
art
her
form
make
is-
sense of life in the world.
Oh, I love that.
In what ways does your childhood and where you grew up inspire your art?
Just hitting us with some bangers.
Go first.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I don't know.
Okay. I'm gonna speak on Inglewood because I'm from Inglewood, and I genuinely like. Repeat the question one more time.
In what ways does your childhood and where you grew up inspire your art?
Okay. Inglewood is like, I don't know what it is about it, but it has this energy that like you have your community and like you can sleep, but like there's this sense of like busyness that we're trying to not only get out of Inglewood, but like bring it back, come back. And there's my first pop-up show that I did for the Nightmare Clothing, it was in Inglewood, and I remember how special that was to me because it was in like my hometown. And I could have done it anywhere else in LA, but there's just this sense of like, I always want to bring it back home. I always want to bring it back to Inglewood because there's a community that is like underrepresented on the outside of Inglewood. And I think that even like my pre-notions about like Inglewood High, which I didn't even go to, is like, I wish that I didn't have those notions about it because there's some like brilliant people in there that like we would love to see. So it's like, it definitely inspires me because we want to represent the underrepresented.
That's exactly what Creators Camp
Yeah.
wants to do. I love that because I think about it often how, because you would always represent the wood and be talking about it. Like, I remember way back when you had your YouTube.
Yeah.
And, because I've never felt like I've had where I'm from represent me, actually, which is like weird to say. Because I was born and raised in Hawthorne.
You could say LA too though.
LA, yeah. And I mean, same house all my life, everything.
Right.
And I think it's always more so about like what, this is already explained. It's not the place, it's not like visuals. It's not like the place, but it's like the people in it and like what I took from it, because I was very sheltered. So like it's not like my community, I was out and about in it. Like, I don't know, it's definitely like what experiences I took and like, I don't know if this makes sense, but like, having I'm very homebody, very sheltered, so my family's experiences, and maybe seeing my dad, here's my answer. Seeing my dad's also all the way Cali, so it's like West Covina and his like Valley friends and stuff, like they were all so tight-knit, and I saw that, and that's why I'm always like West Side, like throwing up, like it's always about that because of that culture. But then my mom, like her moving, she lived in like 15 plus different places in her life, and like was born in Egypt and like was a whole foreigner, or is whatever, and like just being like, wow, like it's not really about the place you're at, because she moved a bunch of places, but really about the experiences rather. So just how all that cultivated, I hope
That definitely connects to your thing about community.
Yes, because it's really not about the place.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a rep, probably Cali and like West Side all the time.
Like, no matter where we are, as long as it's people.
It's people there. Yeah.
No, I definitely saw the photo of you like throwing up.
She stayed throwing it up, and I stay calling her out. She'd be like,
It's West Side. Like, how can you not? It comes so easy. Anyways, and I'm like, I don't represent a place. West Side. I'm good.
That's funny. I mean, you guys kind of answered this sort of, but what's something you've realized about yourself through your art?
I don't know. I think that's a different question for sure.
It's different.
What do we recognize?
Or would you realize about yourself?
Insecurities, if we're being honest. Because art is so, being creative is so intimate within yourself though, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so like you figure out yourself so closely, and it's been like what my insecurities are, why I want to like change my mindset. Like you get into this like building this relationship with yourself because it's your craft, and you're representing what you represent, like you're representing yourself. So for me, it's made me realize that was the question, to recognize like what I am insecure about and how I can shift that and be the best person I want to be.
I feel like to build on that, it would definitely be like the success aspect of it. Like, what do I define as successful? And like, you know, like it's really easy to play the number game when you're, especially in this generation, because most of your art normally does go online for other people to see. And it's like, even though I spent like, okay, like 3 days on that or whatever, like, which, let's say that's a long time, because I can really edit something in like an hour if we're being real. But like, if I spent 3 days on something and it was like a passion project that I worked on for like a month, but it doesn't hit the same way that some video that I did spend an hour on, that messes with your version, your perception of you and your success. So it's like, you really have to, when you're working on projects, I feel like I really have to focus on like, whether this hits or not, like, did I love it? Did I love to do it? Would I do it again type thing?
Defining success is huge, because if people are defining it as numbers,
Yeah.
and defining it as like, if it's popular, then it's like, you're really gonna have hit or miss, or like be misshapen or like unhappy with the way something turns out. But if you define it in a different way of us building culture, community, and like bringing the best out of people, then we're successful every day, you know? So.
If you could meet with anyone, if you could meet with anyone that inspires you, that are alive, who would it be and what would you ask
Why are you
them?
looking at me?
Sorry, because didn't we? You said something.
I did say Issa, but I don't know what that prompt was.
Because you said like our idols are.
Oh no, yeah, we were talking about how we want to get advice. But
Oh
like,
yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, we can be with anyone dead or alive.
What are we doing?
We're just talking to them. How's life?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like actually, okay,
No.
yeah.
If you could meet with anyone that inspires you, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you ask them?
Mine is definitely still Issa. I'm an Issa Rae fan.
Okay.
And I love her come up story, and I need to know like the details, not just like what she said on interviews. Like, I would genuinely like to know like her determination in that, and like what steps she took. Like, did she spend overnights just planning on how she was gonna make that next move? Like, I need all the wisdom from Issa Rae. So
That's
yeah.
fine. Dang, I have not thought about this, and I don't know, because like, I'm like wanting to have a good answer, but I just genuinely don't know.
It's okay.
Because like, even, what would you even ask and say? Because I think of family, I think of ancestors, I'm like, I miss you, I want to see you. Come sit down and talk with me. But like, at the same time, if I'm talking, I can have like Black history, this is what I want to meet. I can have personal life, this is what I want to meet. I have to pick a category. But you know what? This isn't like, because I don't want to be some type of, like, I didn't even listen to his music until after he passed. For real, I'm going to be completely honest. But Nipsey's been on my heart a lot lately. Mm-hmm. And especially, I think, now we're working just in the area more. But Nipsey, I think because of his, and I got into Lauren Lennon watching a lot of her interviews after the movie, but like how he was spoken about and just his hustle and like his, him being so real and authentic. I'm like, I just want to have a conversation with him. He would be dope. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great one.
Yeah.
Because he's just authentic. For me, it's not even about what you did or what you accomplished. Like, I just want to talk to some authentic people for real. He seems dope.
he's definitely a different breed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What wakes you up in the morning?
I have been asked that before, and I need to rethink my answer though.
What wakes you up in the morning, like besides
What
your alarm?
motivates you?
Oh.
However you want to answer it.
I mean, like, besides
I'm sorry.
It could be your alarm. That's like,
Okay.
that's your answer.
Because I'm trying to, actually, it's crazy, I'm trying to like not use the alarm lately. Okay, what actually wakes me up in the morning? Because I could be up and still groggy, you know? So I'm like, what wakes me up? Low-key, it'll be like my motives for the day. Like, okay, like I want to, in order to, like a meeting with P today, we have to get our creators camp done. Like, I can't wait. Like, it'll be something that excites me. It has to be something exciting for the day. It'll wake me up, if that makes sense.
I take really slow mornings. So what actually motivates me to get up is not normally anything that has to do with work, because I will work. As soon as I start work, I don't stop until I go to sleep. So it's normally some kind of treat for myself. Like if I know I'm about to go to Starbucks, get a little drinky drink, or if I'm about to go work out or something and I know I'm gonna eat afterwards. It honestly always comes back to food.
Don't get
We can talk about food all day.
this girl.
But I get so excited for food. It's like a little reward. It's a little.
And if she doesn't eat, it would be an issue. If she didn't eat today before this interview, you would have had a whole.
I honestly would be pretty grumpy right now.
She would be mad, crazy, like.
But food is a big motivator. Let's just
Talk about it.
Let's just food for her. It's food for me.
Yep.
no, I love that. Food, yeah. That's why I knew. I just had a feeling. Well, honestly, another podcast.
I'm gonna take some
The food he laid out. That's so sweet. That's so sweet.
Okay, so these questions are specifically for Perris. What does the word nightmare mean to you? And do you mind elaborating on the quote, success doesn't have to be uncomfortable, escape shadows, and be the worst nightmare?
I don't even know.
That's like on the website, I think. I don't know. I was just too much.
Can we give a kudos to the interview? Kudos to the interview. Literally.
So, nightmare, the short story of like the actual name is my name is Perris Mykel. Those initials are PM. It's like AM, PM. And originally the name was going to be like PM, the Nightmare Clothing. But I chopped off the PM and it was just Nightmare, and that stuck more. So that's where Nightmare, the name, came from. But what nightmare really means is genuinely like, don't be afraid of your dreams. Like, you should be everybody else's worst nightmare when you're trying to accomplish your dreams. Don't be scared at the end of the day. Like, do everything you want to, even if it seems scary, do it scared. So like, if you kind of represent yourself as like, I'm gonna be the best or I'm gonna be the baddest or whatever, like, nightmare isn't supposed to be like a downplay on like your abilities. It's literally supposed to be like taking the word back on your dreams. So
changing the power behind the word.
Changing the power, yeah.
I love
oh my
that.
gosh, I'm like grenade.
No, but that's it, because I just asked you the other day. I was like, what's nightmare? Like,
I know, because she's at my pop-up shop, she was literally like, if I was buying from you, I need to know what it's about.
What's the purpose? And I loved that. That was so good.
Now the whole world knows.
Now the whole world knows.
We'll link all of their stuff down below so you guys can check it out. But what's that process like of making pieces by hand?
Tough. It's tough. Like I said a little bit earlier, I did not sleep that night that I designed like 8 pieces or whatever, like, because I had to hand do every single one of those. Started with the blank hoodies and then sewed the inside, did the actual printing, and then I pressed it. Then I had to make it all cute and like ship it out or whatever. But the process itself is like, that's why I also am like, I don't ever want to force it. Because there was, when I first started Nightmare, it was a monthly thing. I would come out with something new to put on the back every month. But it got old quick for me, probably for everybody else, and it was like, that's not all I want to do with Nightmare. So I feel like the process is really, I honestly always say when anybody asks that Nightmare is my baby, so I'm super patient with it. And like, I'm also super consistent with it. And that makes me want to show the back of my hoodie. Because, because the back of my hoodie says,
I was going to ask if you were going to do
success and consistency. And like, that's kind of like my Nightmare motto. Just, it might not be Nike right now, like, but like, eventually you're going to see me in a store. So just keep working on it.
I believe that.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
I just like started grinning in the middle of her talking because like sometimes I have spurts of like, well, if I didn't know her, like, what would I think of her type thing? I don't know if that sounds weird, but I'm like listening to everything we're saying, and I'm grateful to be here with you, and just like, it's so sweet that this experience is everything, because sometimes we do stay encouraged by others, like recognizing everything we're trying to do, so we appreciate you, but like, you just talking, I'm like, damn, like, she's doing a lot. Yeah. I'm like, I'm doing a lot, you're doing a lot, and like, being proud of ourselves, period. I think that was it. But I'm just like, damn, like, we
do have to be proud of ourselves.
We do, and that's so important. I like think about people I look up to in terms of like, wow, they're doing this, they just printed this. We have so many talented people at LMU, and I'm like, how can I be better? And I'm like pushing all the time, but it's like, give ourselves our flowers type thing. Like, dang, you're dope.
I feel like, but in general, I feel like we're constantly being like drawn to these people who are just like, I had a word for it, but I'm like, this community that like we meet, like all these people we meet, they have something going, and I'm just like,
who are as hardworking, as driven as us. And,
yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a different frequency, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
I saw that some of your pieces were named after cities. Well, you already mentioned like Inglewood being where you're from, where you were born, and are they inspired by the cities they're named after? Because you had one that said Pasadena, and it was like burgundy.
Yeah.
Does the color like go with the name? Or?
Yes. So Pasadena is actually, that one is like a dark pinky color, and I picked that because of like the Rose Parade. Like when I first came up with the names, they were based on like colors that were like recognized in the city. Like what was purple? Purple was like Napa for like grapes and like wine and stuff. Like it was thought out, but I didn't end up sticking with like the city thing. I just kind of was like, I'm my own boss, so I kind of just created my own titles for everything else. But like that very first collection is named after a city, so it's like wherever you're from, you know, either rep it or rep somebody else's city.
Right.
Yeah.
I love people who like really pay that much attention to detail. So
I'm definitely a details person.
What don't you do? How do you maintain the balance of running? I think it's a creative agency.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
What don't you do? I love that. What don't you do, friend? I'm curious. What don't you do?
The answer is anything athletic.
That's a lie though.
I work out sometimes.
No, she's so athletic. We were just talking about how we was playing ball today, pick up with our homeboys, and we lucky did our thing.
What don't I do? That's crazy, because as I add to my list, I consistently fill up all the slides. It's like nothing. I think that the only thing that I genuinely don't do is like release music, and like that's not my niche. I'm like definitely more of like the visual side versus like the actual talking part. But like, what don't I do? That's actually so funny, because
what don't you do?
I'm trying to think what do I add to my list.
Well, I was gonna say, like, how do you maintain the balance of everything? Like, you're a creative agency, the Creator Campus, the streetwear brand, the podcast, being a full-time student, as well as finding time.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Like, as well as finding time for, you know, everything else, like family, food, sleep.
Food. She gonna make time for it.
Food always make time for it. I feel like that balance, I said earlier, it's a little difficult right now, because especially because I did add like an actual job to fund all these creative ventures. But like, I really take it one day at a time. When it comes to Creators Campus, I'm blessed because we're not like super strict on our meetings. Like we were supposed to have a meeting today, but like we were like, let's wait till Thursday or whatever, because that's just, it's our life at the end of the day, so we can kind of control it that way. Yeah. And I think that's really important as an entrepreneur, that I do have that control of, I am my own boss when it comes to those things. So also, like I said that the podcast, like it's been kind of difficult to film for the podcast because both me and my sister are working. So it's really just about finding that time to like do the job at the end of the day, like fitting that into the schedule. It's not much to it, just one day at a time. I consistently say that.
Well, this question is for both of you guys. I like to start at the beginning. How did you two meet? Well, you did mention high school. And what did you see lacking in your community that made you want to start Creator Campus on an individual level and together?
You can definitely go. Well, yeah, definitely met in middle school.
Yeah, but you're like, we met in middle school, like we were around each other, and then like high school, we actually had classes together. We had like
and
one class
still
together.
weren't
Actually, we still had
close.
classes together. And then we still weren't that close, but it wasn't until like we genuinely got to college where we were the only two people that really went to LMU. And it was like we were both commuters, we were both super busy, and it was like we wanted to find our community at LMU, but it just wasn't our time to do that. And so we had to come together, and it started in the library with like study sessions. And we never actually studied. We were always talking.
We just needed that for us. That's what it was. It wasn't even.
And eventually, I don't know when we decided to be roommates, but I think it was at a study session. And I was like, you want to try it out? And
I was like, we
let's
started.
First semester.
That was the beginning for me of understanding manifesting because you were already on it.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, imagine like it would be like 3 months from now. We'd be on campus. We'd be da-da-da.
Yeah.
We'd just run outside and go to our class. We were so excited because now I'm over on campus. But it's funny because in that moment, it was like we could totally be roommates, and we were like, yep, let's look into it, and then it made it happen. Like, and then it was that. But what was the question?
How did we meet?
Start at the beginning of every like creator campus.
Oh my gosh, the Denny
Take it
story.
over. Take it over.
I love it because I want a real sit down interview with
She
this.
wrote it down.
I should have brought
I saw that too.
well,
it was something.
Oh, the napkin.
It was like.
Journaling. That was something else. Jeez, journaling.
Yeah, the T-shirt ideas.
Yeah. So that was really like that was before Creators Campus even like that was me and my journal like from high school.
Oh wow.
When we didn't know like when we weren't really friends like that. And I was just like, wouldn't it be cool to have? It was literally Creators Campus. Like, wouldn't it be cool to have weekly meetings and like support everybody's art? And I just wrote that, and it literally said 2019, and that's on my Instagram. And that was, that was us launching it to Instagram. I was like, go follow this, da da da. But the actual night we came with Creators Campus, it was just late at night. We went to Denny's food once again, and I love the story so much. I don't want to mess it up.
I think we were having a revelation.
We were having multiple revelations on one night. It was so, and I kind of can't remember everything even now, but I just remember we were talking about, we got to give homage and like credits to all of the events already been going on, right? So like Black Market Flea, Black on the Block, Ebony Beach Club was huge for me. I want to be a surfer so bad. I want to be surfer. But all these events we were going to this past summer. So summer 2022. That felt like the best summer ever. Like we're gonna see, because it's only up from here. But this summer was the summer of our lives. We was literally, you were imagining
because we were working together a lot. Like,
yes,
it wasn't just hanging out. Like we were genuinely doing work together.
Working, and people, this is before we were even like anything was anything. It was starting to come together because like I'd have my camera, she'd bring hers. And then like I started doing more photos and you were doing more video, and people were like, so are you guys like what's your Insta? And it was like we were like, oh no, we're separate actually. Yeah. And then it was like you sisters or you cousins, and like no, like we kept getting the same questions, but we were networking so much, and it was such a vibe. Like I don't even know how to articulate it. Like everything was happening as it should, like in divine timing. Like it was meeting people that we're still in touch with that have come to Creators Campus so far. And it was like, before we had, the idea, and then we were like, wait, like all these events.
It was like, we could,
why can't we?
It was like, we can do this.
We could do this.
Do that.
Why can't we put on, but like what we want more specifically, more than a flea market, That sounds bad, but like more. More than just flea market, more than surf lessons. What is our thing? Because people's thing was surf, and we're like, okay, the community aspect is what we love, but what besides that is our thing outside of that?
Because it started because we were like, well, I kind of want to do like a Black Market Flea thing to where we party after we network. Because I think I brought up like I want like something to network. So we can have like friends that are creatives. I think it kind of started as that. Like we wanted more people like us.
And then I said, "Is the blooper?" I was like, "Wait, the blueprint?" Because we were okay. Wait, I'm getting excited. I'm reliving it because I was like, "Wait, there's a blueprint." If you think about it, Black Market Flea, and this is important to emphasize with anything. Like you're gonna learn from other people who've already done it. That's real. So we're learning, and we're taking it and making it our own. So I was like, "Wait, Black Market Flea starts the day, and it's a flea market, and then they have DJs, and then it turns to a night party."
Yeah.
Ebony Beach Club was literally surf lessons, and then the whole day was party on the beach. Damn. And then Black on the Block was the same thing, flea market, and then turns to. But I was like, wait, the blueprint is whatever our thing is, turn to party. whatever our thing is, have an event, turn it to a party, because people just want to have fun and community. And I was like, I want it. Like I was getting, oh, that's right. The summer I was getting like our middle school reunion together. Like I did like a whole thing, like 100 people showed up. It was huge. And I was like on it for months on my Insta. It was kind of started off as a joke. And I was like, I miss my middle school friends, or I miss my middle school people, because we were so tight, all of us. Like even how Perris and I weren't tight, like we all just were in a good vibe together in that era. I mean, everybody's different, but whatever. So we got together and then did that. And then everybody was like, Tiff, when's your next one? And I was like, my next party plan? I was like, what? And then we did like bowling night. We did like 2 or 3 more. And it was, the bonfire was the hugest one, the reunion. But then after that, it was like still people getting together. And then people kept asking P and Tiff, when is your next one? And I'm like, and so after that, back to Denny's, back here.
But no, Andrea had asked us when our next one was, which kind of sparked it.
That's true.
Then we were like, we got something coming.
We got one every month of December.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like when we were first. Okay, so see, we don't even know at this point. But no,
it's a process.
It's a process. It is. But I said that there's a blueprint to it, and then it was totally your idea of saying like our thing should be networking and having. I think we both had like the creative aspect of like we want creatives. Oh, I'm tripping. Our main thing was like we want to find other people who are just genuinely wanting to create and have fun and are good people, because unfortunately like this is the whole thing, but you won't find like the best of people in LA or in college or in experiences.
Always trying to compete.
Yes, they're always trying to compete.
We didn't want a space where you had to compete.
Yeah, exactly. We just want, can I just show you my poetry, you show me yours, and we vibe, and like I love this about yours, you love this about mine. Like why does it have to be competing? Girls can be just a mess, catty. You know, there's like these different elements where we were like, let's just create a space where we pick and choose low-key our people, by picking and choosing, meaning like how we present what our idea is. And then we just went from there. It was literally like, she was like, let's network. And then after our networking event, it could change a different theme every month. And that's what it is now. And like then turn to a kickback/party. And so we literally, it was your idea, I'll never forget, because I fell in love with it, because I'm such a cliche and romantic and hopeless romantic, and I literally wouldn't have thought of it. And she was like, let's get a napkin and write it down and remember this day.
I said that was you. I thought that idea was
her.
It was
all you, friend.
Oh,
it was all you.
I was, no.
It was all you. She literally was like, let's get it. And I was like, oh my. And then I like added something to it. I was like,
I think that I was joking. That's probably why I don't remember it.
Really?
Because like, you're right. Like, let's write it down.
Yeah.
Like, write it down.
And then we literally had to ask the waiter for like a little pen, and then got our napkin or whatever. And we wrote the date. And it was in October, because then by December, we had our like launch in December. And then January, February, we like had an event every month. So it was in October. And we wrote it down, and we still have the napkin. I'm like, this is going to be framed one day. Like, this is our thing. Like, regardless of if it's popping or not, like, this is us. And it was so, really that night, this is what I always come back to. We wrote notes to ourselves, too. Like, it was a message to ourselves, but, like, we both mentioned each other in it. So on each thing of the napkin, like, you can see, she said something about me, and then I turned and was like, P, if I forget, I'm proud of us. Like, I said something cute, you know. But it was like, I'll never forget that night, because I was talking about the waiter and the sweetheart of a waiter. Mm-hmm. And he was just a puka. He was a cutie pie. But the like intention of it being so pure. Like I was like, this has no ill intent in it. So it is destined to do great things. Like I was like, we're not trying to get money. We're not trying, like from this specifically, we're not trying to become popular or famous.
Because it literally was supposed to be, we wanted to launch as a nonprofit, but like the logistics in that would take too long for us when we wanted to get started. We were like, we have to jump on this now, because we felt so motivated to do it. Yeah. And then, and so inspired to do it. So it was just so pure. That's all I remember. It was so pure, and we were both on the same page. Like, yeah, because what she had wrote down in 2019, I had been like, it had been a developing idea for me for like that year, but it was based on like one niche, and I wanted to do like a convention on it, and then that convention was gonna turn into eventually like an actual campus, like where creatives could come and create, and we put that. So
we had different ideas, and then we meshed it, but it perfectly aligns still. Like,
What does it feel like to be exactly where you're supposed to be to you?
I want to hug you. Because he did his research, y'all. Just so y'all, they don't really know for real unless they went through the stuff, because I always say that. But, and that was in my writing somewhere, huh?
Yeah.
But, How does it feel to be exactly where I'm supposed to be? I mean, it's a little bit of, it's so funny because that line is like a little bit of making yourself believe that and not really believing it all the way sometimes. Like sometimes it's just encouragement. It's like, I'm right where I need to be, I'm right where I need to be, even when you don't feel like you are, you know? But, so it's a little bit of encouragement in there, it's a little bit of lying to yourself in a good way. And then it's also a reminder that like, you get so wrapped up in the world and everything so often, and with creative, with the real like personal relationships in life, or like with a regular part-time job, with school, and like so many things. But for me, it's a reminder that there's so much more than just this life and like what we make it out to be and make it such a huge deal. And it's definitely on a spiritual. I'm a big spiritual person, and I mean people say that a lot nowadays. I mean like I prioritize my relationship with God and my spirit and my being outside of just this body. And so it's my spirit, it's me saying like, I'm right where I need to be in this moment, meeting you as another soul, as not just like who you physically represent, but like knowing that we're interacting and it means something. You know, everything means something. So that's a cute question. I love it. That's definitely a good one.
Well, do you want to speak about your film?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, because
That was a blessed set too.
that was blessed for real. Oh my gosh, because we would have never gotten through any of it without all the small things that came together. But I feel like we were talking about it at work, and like I get cringe talking about it for some reason. I need to figure out what my issue is with talking about the film. But I feel like it's because I'm like so ready to leave what I did in the past. Because I'm like, I just like look at it as like I could have done so many things so much better. And you're always like, you talk about it so highly. And I'm just like, okay, on to the next. And that's another thing of like giving myself my flowers and being like, girl, you did that, like, be proud. But, so I don't talk about it often, but there's so much to celebrate in that because I was a freshman. I was a freshman in college. I was a film production major and African American studies.
That's why you're smiling like that.
I don't even remember. So I was a major, and I was so adamant about filmmaking, and I'm a film student, and I love it here. And this was completely outside of school because they were assigning things, but it was like nothing to create on your own. Excuse me. And I was like, okay, why can't I get my own team, have my own place, and we just shoot something? And we did a 3-day weekend. Shot it. I mean, I wrote it for months, and then we shot it, and then it was obviously a lot more to it. But and then it came out in the summer of 22. Once again, that was another fun time, and we premiered it and got dressed up. I was kind of the whole time in the making of it was just like I just want to look good in a pretty dress and take pictures of my friends and say this night is about me. So it was a little bit about that. But so lost my train of thought. I was like super inspired by jazz at that time, like right before that I did my documentary in New Orleans with my family. And then just wanted to write off something different, authentic, like we hear the same stories all the time, so I wrote about this girl and her story. And it was a great time. I don't know, you guys can watch it if you want to get into the real story of it. I don't feel like it's
links down below too.
Yes,
yeah.
it will. Thank you.
But, so even in like that film, you kind of had like this fairy godmother. Was it her sister?
Yes.
Was it? Okay.
Oh, did we just, yeah, spoiler.
Damn.
Yes. Because I'm like, people have questions, but
they haven't seen those.
Well, now you gotta see it to know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe they are, maybe they aren't.
But that just raised the question, like how much does the metaphysical influence your work?
Definitely a lot. I realized with that my writing, or even my sometimes I have creative writing that I never even post or talk about, but it's always like outworldly-ish, like it doesn't have to do with like the physical world. And I'm like, dang, like I guess I'm kind of into that. But it's not like I tried to like do that. It's just all I could think about to write. And I was like, it'd be cool if, and it's always so fictional, but it's like, is it really fictional? Like, our ancestors could be in our lives all the time, speaking to us, giving us signs, and like, yeah. I just keep thinking of wall. I'm getting tired. Kind of. It's like you're always being guided, and I think I'm figuring. Definitely, I'm now. I brought up my major in film because I dropped it, and it was this huge time where I was like, oh, everyone knows me for film, and like I'm defined by this, like, should I even do this? And that's when I was like, okay, no, you're not, and I moved on. So now I'm African American Studies in psychology, and the just the Afrocentricity, like learning about Africa and our ancestry, like walking in that lately has been linked back to a lot of things I used to write about and didn't even know I was writing about, you know, so it definitely connects to ancestry. I didn't know that when I wrote Meanness though.
Yeah.
I was just like,
But to hear you
someone's,
explain that, I'm
yeah,
like, I love that.
that's fire, actually.
Because I didn't think
And the last question for both of you is, what is a quote or saying that you live by?
Tomorrow's not promised. So that's one of my, that's quick off top. That's one I always think of.
Yeah, I feel like, because you've said it in an interview, and that's why I was like, dang, I always have said that since a baby, but it's just day by day. And I feel like it should be something more hard-hitting.
I know that it honestly is.
That's
I want to say that, like, I've been, I told you about it, but people always say, like, life is short, and I honestly hate when they say it, and I don't say hate a lot, because it's, like, a way of, like, speaking that into existence. Like, why don't we say, like, life is long? So I don't say life is short. If I say, like, life is long, but we can do this in a short amount of time or something like that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Trust me, there's a plethora of quotes I live by. It's all in my journals, in my archives, but I don't speak.
No, honestly, I have this 5-minute journal, and I be
There's
some
a lot
wise
of good
words
stuff.
down.
I'm telling you, there's a lot to live by, literally.
Oh, also, I want to say a new one that I've been going by is stop at all the lights and stop at all the stop signs and just, like, breathe, you know? Like, you don't have to rush through the stop sign type.
I love that because
Yeah.
because that reminds me of this. Now we're just gonna talk life. This reminds me of
let's wrap it up.
Well, thank you both for
That's it.
thank you both for your time and just, you know, being here. And we'll link all their info down below so you guys can check out these amazing people and their amazing work. But thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next interview.
Yay!